Yeah, I'm gonna mute. Okay. Oops.
We're live.
Here we go. Oh, we are live. Okay. Hey everyone. Hope everyone's having an awesome day. I am here with the famous and fabulous Coach Kimberly Keaton, apartment investing extraordinaire, who is taking us through her journey with helping her mom through 1031 exchange. So I'm gonna turn it on over. Let's hear the update.
Awesome. All right, here we are. Hey, Facebook. And anybody else watching anywhere else, however else this all gets out there. So I apologize. I was telling Stacey earlier, I'm sorry I'm not dressed up for y'all. I literally have been on phone calls all morning. I have been working on a pitch deck for raising capital with one of my business partners. So you get the hat today, but I think it ties in with my background. This is welcome to my backyard. So I live in the forest. Here we go. So getting it done. 1031 update. All right. I can't believe we haven't talked since April 30th. I was looking at the calendar. I'm like, what's going on? And every day, like whenever mom and I talk, I keep little notes of like little things that she's learning. It is so awesome. And this is what I love about real estate. This is what I love about people learning real estate and kind of getting into it, right? Because you can't tell anybody anything, right? That just doesn't work. None of us like that. I don't like it, right? You don't like it. None of us like it. So, helping mom. I think we talked last time about cute properties, right? I think we had one of those conversations. Like I had to get her off of cute properties into property.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So this week, one of the things, or these last 10 days, one of the things that she learned was, maybe I told you this or not. If not, just cut me off. Was she learned about cap rates and the impact of cap rates, because when we first started looking at areas, I just like Albuquerque and I want to go to Albuquerque. And I'm like, okay, cool. And by the way, caveat, I'm not recommending any city. There's reasons for all of them. So we were looking at Albuquerque, and she has about $600,000 to invest. And when we leverage that, we're going to get about 2.4 out of it. And so I said, okay, mom, so let's have this conversation. When you have a cap rate of 6 and you got $600,000, then we're looking at that's the formula you use all the time, right? The NOI and the cap rate and the building value, and you can back into it, right? So if you've got building value and cap rate, you can project the NOI. So I was like, okay, mom, so if you've got a 6 cap on 600, then you're going to make about $36,000 a year. And she's like, okay, that's not bad. I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm like, so if it's a 7 cap, it's like 42,000 a year. And she's like, oh, that's better. And then I go, and if it's an 8 cap, she goes, I know how to do my math. That's 48.
That's funny.
It was awesome. So, she's like, so I want like a 10 cap, right? And I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, that's a lot better than a 6 cap, but now we got to be careful. As you know, right, Stacey, like higher is not always better.
Yeah, sometimes that's an indication that it works better on paper than it does in real life. Yeah. The high cap rates are usually actually a red flag, because it's like, what's real about this property?
Yeah, what kind of area am I in? If it's right. Like, right, which was another learning lesson for mom this week. So she is on such a massive crash course of real estate. So we're talking a lot about the deals right now, because I turned on to Crexy. So she's going shopping and she's like, what is this? And what is that? And what is this? I'm like, awesome. This is so good. So we were talking about property classes. And so we had that whole learning curve of like, what's an A class? What's a B class? What's a C class and D class? She had no clue, which was awesome. So now she knows what A classes are and B and all of those, and what to look for and not look for. She also had, because she's looking at the paperwork, right? And so that's like one of the best ways to get into real estate, is to actually do it and then go, I don't understand what any of this is. What is this? And so that's kind of what we're troubleshooting every time. So area classes she now understands. And also, like you taught last week, I loved your 5-day. That was so great to just sit and watch and go through that with you, because it's practice, drill. You got it. it doesn't change. Like some little stuff changes, but it's always, you got to practice those fundamentals. Even like if you're a pro basketball player, pro baseball player, like they drill and drill and drill. So triple net was another one she learned this week. So one of the realtors pitched her a triple net deal. And she's like, I don't know. I have to talk to my daughter. I don't even know what that, I don't even know what that is. So we had that chit chat about triple net, which for those of you watching, if you don't know what a triple net is, so that tends to be a phrase that we really use in retail or office or industrial. So that's when you've got a tenant that's going to help you pay for property taxes. You're going to charge back utilities. You're charging all of these different costs back and common area maintenance that tenant will help pick up, which you're kind of starting to see a little bit in the multifamily, which is kind of cool. Cause that was another thing. She goes, what's RUBS? And that's where, which I love that.
Well, and go ahead and explain that. Cause a lot of the triple net, the RUBS, is stuff that I don't usually talk about when I'm doing like foundational level stuff. But now that like we're bringing you on and we're going to start doing the courses and stuff, I like, go ahead and talk about that stuff, especially as you're teaching your mom, like everybody's going to want to learn that. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. So it's one of my favorite things that's happening these days. And it's kind of evolved the last couple of years. Cause again, there's a lot of things about real estate that are the same, but then they evolve. And so what's happened in the last few years is that as rentals have become more competitive, and vacancy rates have gotten lower, so we don't have to wait for tenants as long, and we can be more, we can have more expectations of our tenants. We've started in the real estate world to charge back utilities to tenants, and that's a RUB. So that's a ratio utility billing system, RUBs. And you have to be conscientious of it. There's a lot of different ways to do it. There's probably at least 5. And it also depends upon the state that you're in. So in California, you have to do RUBs and to not run amok of the utility commission, the public utility commissions, because in California, they think if you are rubbing back utilities, you're acting as a utility company, which is crazy. So you just get a third-party intermediary that'll do it. But usually in most states, you can just have your property manager do a chargeback. So you can take basically your utility cost for the last year. You can allocate it out to every unit based upon square footage or based upon number of tenants. And then on top of their rent, they have this extra little piece of money that they pay every single month, which, like you talked about in the 5-day, that adds to the value of your property.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, anything I don't have to pay for, awesome, so good. So she learned about RUBs, and let's see, I'm looking at my list. What else did she? Just looking at the rent rolls and the financials. Oh my gosh, there's just walking through those with her, explaining, oh, what's this, what's that, what are we looking for, what are they giving us, what are they not giving us. Like you went through in your foundation course, which was, again, a great description. You really went through some of those terms. And so she's learning that. She's right there with everybody else, like understanding what those are. Another thing that we're kind of, what is that note? Oh, okay. So the other question she came up with was GRM. What's this GRM? Oh, Mom, that's great. That's your gross rent multiplier. And she's like, well, okay, so what does that mean? And the short answer to it is basically, how many years does it take for you to get your money back? That's the short answer. So do you want a high GRM or do you want a low GRM? Low. So she's like, so an 8.2 GRM, that means it would take me 8 years to get my money back? I'm like, yeah, basically. She goes, I don't like that. She's like, I don't want that. And then, which was hilarious. So, that's kind of like what's one of those rules of thumb with the GRM. Sorry, I don't know if you guys can hear that. Yikes.
Yeah, we can. It's fine. Someone's message or calling you.
Yes. I don't know how to turn that off and not mute. Anyway,
Okay.
so basically you take to figure out your gross rent multiplier, you take your costs in and then you divide it by the gross rents. And that's going to give you a number of how many basically years on that gross rent till you get all that cash that you put in back. And then after that, so my general rule of thumb is I like to see that number around 5 or less, which is not always easy to find. It's easier to find in higher cap rates than in lower cap rates, right?
Doesn't it usually kind of go hand in hand with the higher the cap rate, the lower the GI? Just because it's all the financial, how everything works together.
Yeah. And it's so funny, like I'll go shopping for stuff. Probably about 6 months ago, I was launching an acquisition phase, and I thought, oh, I want to look here in California because I don't want to travel as much, and I can get to South Lake Tahoe pretty easy and Stockton pretty easy. And this was before they passed the rent control, and it was so funny because I talked to some real, which now I'm totally out of California. Forget it.
Exactly.
No, thank you. So when I was talking to some of the realtors in California, and you'll see this in places like Dallas or Austin, you know, these more expensive markets. They're like, yeah, it's like a 10.2 GRM. And I'm like, yawn. That's not what I'm looking for. So she got to learn about GRM, which was cool. It's another indicator, you know, that we track on how well the property's performing. And then the thing that we're kind of working on right now with Mom is on what kind of city that she's interested in. So now, if it's okay, I'm going to share some of the market analysis, which piggybacks off of what you were showing. So if that's cool, I'll share that with everyone.
And while you're getting ready to share it, I'll just kind of, because some people might be watching this and this will be the first, it just happens to be the first one that they saw. So just kind of while you're sharing, I'll kind of give everyone a little bit of background. So Kimberly is a very experienced real estate investor in the apartment space and has been a trainer for a national training company for years. And now she has come on and she's our lead trainer in our apartment space. And one of the things that she had an idea about maybe a month ago, she's like, my mom is actually closing on a property, like a family owned property that was an investment property. And we're closing on it, and she's going to do a 1031 exchange. And obviously, you know, being the experienced investor that Kimberly is, Kimberly's taking her through that whole process and training her. So we are doing a video series, which you guys are, this is number 4. And Kimberly's literally just walking us through their live experience of going through a 1031 exchange. And anyway, so this is video number 4. So if you haven't seen them, and you want to see the rest of them, let us know. We'll connect you with those. But that's what this is. This is her giving us just the updates on where things stand and the research they're doing and kind of where her mom's going to land. So anyway, I'll just give you guys a little bit of background on that.
Yeah, we're all curious to see where mom's going to land. I think she's probably the most curious. So here's some of the cities that she's looking at and cities I'm looking at. So there's a whole bunch of stuff here that I like to track. Now, there's many things that I look at besides this, and it really depends upon my exit strategy or like the client that I'm working with or my coaching student that I'm working with, kind of their exit strategy. So Mom she's a cash flow buyer. That is not how I buy. I'm a value add buyer. So we are going to be naturally drawn to different types of markets. Okay. So that's a very important foundational understanding. So some of the things that I like to track, population growth. And I know you taught on that, Stacy. You know, is a city, you know, going up in size? Is it going down in size? Is it flat in size? And it's important, like you talked about, it's important to understand, am I working in a market where I'm going to have tenants in 10 years? Right? And there's reasons to be in places. Like I know Robin talked about Detroit, and he's got like a heart for Detroit, and he loves Detroit. He's so good at Detroit, and I love Robin. If you haven't watched the video on Robin, oh my God, I can't like say enough good things about that man.
He is like the world's most interesting investor.
He is absolutely, and the nicest human. So I'm tracking right here in the first columns, and like this is what I was going to show Mom this morning, and we were going to kind of work through so she can see another layer. But it's a lot for her. It's a lot for anybody to learn. So she's like, can we talk later? I'm like, of course. So population growth, you know, how much has it changed? Unemployment, tracking, what's going on with the unemployment, which is so important, and definitely going to be keeping tabs on that. Obviously, we're going to have a little bump here, with COVID, but it's going to recover because it's not that type of unemployment crisis. It'll recover. Crime, I like to track crime and what's going on with crime. And is it improving? Is it increasing? What's the change in crime? And this I pull off of city data. Okay, so no secrets here. City data, population, pulled just right off of Google, like you showed. If you haven't watched that 5-video series that Stacey did last week, you should go watch it. Unemployment, she showed how to pull that. It's more complicated, Bureau of Labor Statistics, but she walked you through it. So median household income, I just like to kind of see what's going on with income growth. So that's also off of city data. House values, what's going off of there is off of city data. And the median rent. So I pull this, I do actually subscribe to Rentometer, which is like, I don't know, $99, $199 a year. It's worth it for me to do it. You could probably get some free stuff, maybe Rent Cafe or something will do it, but just the median average rent, because this is going to tell you a lot, right? Like here's a 1-bedroom in Chicago and the average rent for a 1-bedroom is $1,400 a month, versus in this little teeny tiny town that my mom's interested in, the average rent for a 1-bedroom is $550. So this is a great example to like kind of compare the two. If we go over here, so mom's found a deal in St. Joseph that she's really excited about, which is a small town. It's 75,000 people. So this will be part of the ongoing conversation with mom that we haven't had yet, because that's a teeny tiny little town. And there's not a lot of business there, and there's not a lot of feeder markets there. So you start to make an educated decision, because this is really like on a cash flow deal. There's a lot of ways to make money, right? Like you hear the ideal statement: income, depreciation, equity, appreciation, and leverage, which we haven't had yet with mom. So mom, if you're watching, this is coming, because I know she watches these sometimes. So income, right? That's where we're getting our cash flow. Depreciation is a tax benefit on the property. Equity is by paying down our mortgage and by improving the value of the property through raising rents and reducing expenses. Then you got appreciation. Well, in a little town like St. Joseph's, there's going to be no appreciation at all. I mean, and you're going to hope that anybody there, that business, whatever the main business is, doesn't close.
Yeah.
So that's kind of her next learning step. Yeah, I think it's higher risk, personally. That's a little high risk for me, because I like to know that there's a couple big businesses. Sort of the rule of thumb with small towns is you want to at least know there's some sort of college and hospital, because if those two things are there, then there's a good chance that the city will kind of keep on trucking along, which I'm going to kind of watch that one the next couple of years, quite honestly, because colleges are starting to lose enrollment, which is definitely going to be changing some of these small towns.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was just in a town right before COVID crashed. I was just in a town in Minneapolis with a student looking at property, and we went to a small little, I think Cloud, Minnesota, maybe it was. It was a little small town, but the university there had gone from like 20,000 enrollment like 3 years ago, and now they're down to like 12,000 in enrollment. That's a huge shift.
That's actually really interesting, and it makes me want to keep an eye. I've never been a college town investor, although I know that that's a big strategy. I just never got to that. I just never got around to doing it. But that is interesting, because there really is a big movement right now in the internet marketing world, like completely separate from real estate. The internet marketing world, which is like, it's all about masterminds. Like Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi have done this like gazillions of dollars launch on how, having a mastermind and taking a piece of information, and then it's a knowledge broker age. And it really didn't occur to me that would have an impact on colleges. And I don't know that has, but that certainly makes sense that the trend is more towards entrepreneurism and doing your own thing, not just getting a degree to get a job. That's really interesting. I just want you and I to continue to explore that over the next year or two, because you're right, that was a main staple as far as like a market goes. Like, hey, you want to have universities and hospitals, and the hospital thing probably isn't going anywhere.
No.
But the enrollment, that's a real issue.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about it, but it
issue.
makes sense.
Well, and I think it'll be fascinating to watch because there's a number of, I stay involved in a lot of national organizations with what's going on with COVID and in multifamily. And there's a number of universities that aren't reopening in the fall and are postponing enrollment or looking at going online. And the shift is coming, what that shift is going to look like, but focusing specifically on university housing is, I think, going to be very different in a year from now. So I know we got a jolt, and I just wanted to give a quick update. So let's see, the last thing, and I don't know if I said this last time, but we got the official news. Mom's 1031 is now, we got to identify by July 15th. So we were June 11th. So we got another month. We're just huge.
Great.
I know.
That's good news. That's good news. Well, yeah. I'm excited, and we'll stay in touch and figure out what our next update is. And for those of you watching, we'll do I'll do an official announcement later today in the Facebook group, but Kimberly and I are going to be doing a free apartment investing training on Thursday, kind of in preparation for the accelerator course that's coming up. We'll probably launch it in June. And that's going to be I couldn't do all that on my own. I just simply do not have the time. And Kimberly is a dear friend of mine and just a very, very savvy businesswoman, especially in the apartment space. And so we're really excited to join forces and bring together and just absolutely rock it. So Thursday at, what is it going to be, like 2:30 p.m. Pacific, we're going to do a free training on just investing in apartments and just lay more of a foundation. But we're excited to work with you guys and really bring you in and help you do all this good stuff and really set your foundation for your financial future. So anyway, Kimberly, thank you for sharing all of that. And well, I'll see you on Thursday for sure, and I'm sure I'll see you 3 times between now and then as well, as we get all our plans ready.
For sure. And, just thanks to everyone for coming along on this journey and learning with my mom. And this is it. This is real estate. So it's not sexy all the time. I can't look cute and adorable. Like I think, Stacey, you're just like freaking cute as a button all the time. I don't know how you do it, but
this just means my hair needs to be washed. That's what this means. Otherwise, it's down. Either it was too chaotic with the kids this morning, so it's going to have to go up, or this hair it needs to be washed. So, and today it was both. So there you have it, Facebook. My hair is up. I don't have my shit together, but I don't claim to. It's all good. But you know what I know? I know real estate.
You know what? And you keep it real. And that's what I've always loved about you. There's no fuss. There's no muss. It's like, this is the real deal. So
hair up, do real estate.
All right. Peace out, girlfriend. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.